What if success isn't just about crushing goals or chasing status? What if the real game is becoming the kind of person others trust, follow, and remember? Stephen Covey spent his life decoding the habits of the world's most effective people, not just high achievers, but people who lead with integrity, build deep relationships, and live with purpose. In the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he reveals a powerful framework, not for temporary wins, but for lasting transformation. A way to align who you are with what truly matters. Because effectiveness isn't about doing more, it's about becoming more. It begins with a shift, from the outside in to the inside out. True effectiveness, Covey says, starts with who you are, with your character, not your personality, with principles, not techniques. And at the heart of it all are 7 habits, 7 powerful practices that transform not just what you do, but how you see the world. Let's begin. Habit 1. Be proactive. The first habit is about responsibility, the ability to respond. Being proactive means recognizing that you are not a product of your circumstances, but a product of your choices. Covey tells the story of Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor. In the Nazi concentration camps, Frankl was stripped of everything: his clothes, his dignity, even his name. But there was one thing the guards couldn't take: his ability to choose his response. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our freedom and power to choose. And in those choices lie our growth and happiness. Proactive people focus on what they can control, their own actions, attitudes, and energy. Reactive people focus on what they can't control, the weather, other people, the economy. The more you focus on what you can control, the more your influence grows. It begins with language. Proactive people say, "I choose," "I will," "Let's find a solution." Reactive people say, "I can't," "They won't let me," "That's just the way I am." Effectiveness starts when you stop blaming and start choosing. Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Imagine attending your own funeral. People from all parts of your life, your family, friends, colleagues, are there to speak about you. What do you want them to say? What kind of person do you want to be remembered as? This is where Habit 2 begins, with the end. With your personal definition of success. Covey encourages us to write a personal mission statement, a clear expression of our values and vision. It's like drawing a blueprint before building a house. Without it, we risk climbing the ladder of success, only to find it's leaning against the wrong wall. Leadership is about direction. Management is about speed. You need both. But without a clear sense of destination, speed is irrelevant. Highly effective people live their lives by design, not by default. They prioritize what matters most. They make decisions today based on the legacy they want to leave tomorrow. Habit 3. Put first things first. Once you know what matters, the question becomes, are you living that way? Habit 3 is where your mission becomes action. It's about time management, but not in the traditional sense of cramming more into your day. It's about prioritizing what Covey calls Quadrant 2 activities, important but not urgent. These are things like building relationships, planning, learning, exercising, spiritual renewal. Things that don't scream for attention, but are foundational to long-term success. Covey introduces the time management matrix. Most people spend their time in Quadrant 1, urgent and important, or worse, in Quadrant 3 or 4, doing things that are urgent but not important, or neither. Effectiveness means consciously investing in Quadrant 2. Covey shares the story of a man who always said he valued his family above all else. But when he looked at his calendar, it was filled with work meetings, errands, and obligations. No time for the people he loved most. To live a principle-centered life, you have to schedule your priorities, not prioritize your schedule. It takes discipline, to say no to good things so you can say yes to great things. But when you do, you move from being busy to being effective, from reacting to creating. Habit 4. Think win-win. Life is not a zero-sum game. In a win-lose mindset, one person must lose for another to win. But in the world of long-term relationships, whether in business, marriage, or friendships, that thinking is destructive. Win-win is not about being nice or giving in. It's a mindset of abundance. The belief that there's enough success, credit, love, and opportunity for everyone. Covey tells the story of a business negotiation where both sides entered with the spirit of win-win. Instead of guarding their interests or manipulating each other, they were open, transparent, and creative. The result wasn't just a deal, it was a partnership. To adopt win-win, you need 3 things: character, integrity, maturity, and an abundance mentality. Relationships built on trust and mutual respect. Agreements, clear expectations, shared goals, and accountability. Win-win doesn't always mean compromise. Sometimes the best solution is win-win or no deal. Walking away when a true mutual benefit isn't possible. Highly effective people think in terms of we, not just me. They build trust by looking for solutions that benefit all. Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. If you're like most people, when someone is talking, you're not really listening. You're preparing your reply. Habit 5 flips that. Covey argues that the deepest need of the human heart is to be understood. And yet, we so rarely offer others that gift. We listen with the intent to reply, not to understand. Empathic listening means putting aside your agenda and truly stepping into another person's world. Not judging, advising, or interrupting, but listening to understand. Covey shares the story of a father frustrated with his teenage son. He kept lecturing, offering advice, even punishment. But the son kept shutting down. One day, the father stopped talking and just listened. The boy opened up. Not because he was given answers, but because he felt heard. When people feel understood, they become open to understanding you. This habit is especially powerful in conflict. When you seek first to understand, defenses lower, emotions calm, trust grows. Only then can you be effectively understood. Communication becomes collaboration, not combat. Habit 6. Synergize. Synergy is not just cooperation. It's creative collaboration, where the outcome is greater than the sum of its parts. It's when 1 + 1 = 3. Synergy happens when people with different strengths, perspectives, and backgrounds come together and value their differences. It requires trust, openness, and humility. Covey shares the example of 2 people in a disagreement. Rather than one dominating or compromising, they explore their differences with curiosity. In doing so, they discover a third alternative, one neither had considered alone. That's synergy. It's not just a feel-good idea, it's how innovation happens. In nature, synergy is everywhere. In ecosystems, in the way trees share resources underground, in how geese fly in formation. But in human relationships, synergy requires intention. It means seeing others not as threats, but as partners. It means saying, I don't have all the answers. Let's find something better together. Highly effective people don't just tolerate diversity, they celebrate it, because they know it's the wellspring of greatness. Habit 7. Sharpen the saw. Imagine someone sawing a tree with a dull blade. They're working hard, sweating, but making little progress. You suggest they stop and sharpen the saw. They reply, I don't have time. I'm too busy sawing. This is how many of us live. Habit 7 is about renewal, taking time to recharge your most important asset, you. Covey describes 4 dimensions of renewal: physical, exercise, nutrition, rest; mental, reading, education, creativity; spiritual, meditation, prayer, nature, values; social emotional, relationships, service, empathy. When you neglect these, everything else suffers. You burn out, you lose clarity, you react instead of respond. But when you regularly renew, you grow in strength, clarity, and resilience. You approach life with a full tank. Covey emphasizes that this habit supports all the others. Without sharpening the saw, your effectiveness erodes. Take time to invest in yourself, not as an indulgence, but as a responsibility. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. These 7 habits are not quick fixes. They are not techniques or hacks. They are deeply rooted principles that require time, reflection, and practice. But if you internalize them, if you move from dependence to independence to interdependence, you unlock a whole new level of effectiveness. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. You stop chasing success and start becoming someone worthy of it. Because in the end, effectiveness is not about doing more. It's about becoming more. Not just a manager of time, but a leader of self. Not just a person of achievement, but a person of character. That is the power of the 7 habits. And that is the journey they invite you to begin.